Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a coin that might be hiding in your collection or maybe even tucked away in a drawer. The United States 1965 quarter dollar is one of the most intriguing coins in American numismatic history. Not only does it carry significant historical value, but it also has the potential to be worth a small fortune, depending on its condition. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much this particular quarter is worth today. Let's start with a little bit of history. The year 1965 was an important one for the United States, not just politically or socially, but also for the country's coinage. The government had recently made a major change in the composition of many of its coins. The U.S. Mint decided to reduce the silver content in its coinage due to the rising costs of silver. Previously, quarters, along with other coins, were made of 90% silver. But in 1965, the composition was changed to a 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy, making the new quarters much less valuable in terms of their intrinsic metal content. This decision was made at the height of the coin shortage that gripped the U.S. in the early 1960s. With people hoarding silver, the U.S. Mint needed a way to keep the currency flowing through the economy. So, the new, non-silver quarters were minted, but that change came with some unexpected results. You see, the transition wasn't entirely smooth, and certain error coins were produced during this time that has made them incredibly valuable to collectors today. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1965 quarter so special? It's important to note that while most 1965 quarters were made from the new copper-nickel alloy, there are some rare versions that contain silver. These silver quarters were accidentally minted in very limited quantities, and it's these coins that have captured the attention of collectors. These silver 1965 quarters are often referred to as silver strikes or silver errors, and they were produced during a brief period of overlap between the old silver quarters and the new copper-nickel ones. The silver version of the 1965 quarter is highly sought after because of its rarity. Most 1965 quarters that were released into circulation are made of the copper-nickel alloy, but a few slipped through the cracks, containing silver. These rare silver coins can fetch an incredibly high price on the market, especially when they're in excellent condition, but it's not just about silver quarters. Even standard 1965 quarters that have been well preserved or possess unique characteristics can have a value beyond face value. Condition plays a huge role in determining how much a coin is worth. Coins that are in near mint or uncirculated condition are often the most valuable, and the 1965 quarter is no exception. If your 1965 quarter looks like it just came out of the mint, you might be sitting on a small fortune. So, let's talk about how you can spot a rare 1965 quarter. First, keep an eye out for the silver version, which can usually be identified by its slightly different weight and tone compared to the typical copper-nickel version. A standard 1965 quarter weighs around 5.67 grams, but the silver version weighs a bit more at 6.25 grams. If you have a coin scale, that's one way to check for this rare error. Another method is to look for a slightly different sound when you tap the coin. Silver quarters have a distinct ring compared to their copper-nickel counterparts. Aside from the silver error coins, there are also other factors that can contribute to the value of a 1965 quarter. Coins that have unique minting errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, or other irregularities, can also see a dramatic increase in value. These coins are not only rare but also unique, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have these special characteristics. So, how much can a 1965 quarter be worth? While most 1965 quarters are only worth a few dollars over face value, the silver error quarters are in a league of their own. If you happen to own one of these rare silver quarters, you could be in for quite a surprise. The most valuable 1965 quarters can fetch as much as $77,000 when they are in pristine condition and have been certified by reputable grading services. That's right, $77,000 for a single 1965 quarter. Imagine that. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents could now be worth a staggering amount of money due to its rarity and historical significance. If you have one of these rare silver quarters tucked away in your collection, you might want to get it appraised, as its value could be life-changing. In conclusion, the 1965 United States quarter dollar is much more than just a piece of currency from a past decade. It's a symbol of a transformative time in American history, and if you're lucky enough to come across one of the rare silver versions or one with an unusual minting error, you could find yourself holding a coin worth a small fortune. So, always keep your eyes peeled when you're going through your change, and don't forget to check your older coin collections. You never know what hidden treasures might be waiting for you. Top 2, we're diving into the fascinating world of a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or buried in your change jar, the United States quarter dollar from 1979. While most of us see quarters as pocket change, there's a special group of 1979 quarters that are worth far more than their face value. You won't believe how much a single 1979 quarter could fetch if you know what to look for. Stick around as we uncover the story behind this iconic coin and reveal just how valuable it can be. Let's start with a quick look at the history of the 1979 quarter. In 1979, the United States was going through a period of economic change, with inflation starting to rise and a shift in focus on both domestic policies and international relations. The U.S. Mint was busy minting billions of coins to keep up with the demands of a growing economy, and the 1979 quarter was just one of many coins in circulation that year. What makes the 1979 quarter so interesting? Well, unlike other years, 1979 marked the last time that the U.S. Mint issued the Washington quarter in the classic style with the familiar design of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. However, it's not just the regular design that makes the 1979 quarter stand out, it's the potential rarity and unique features that have intrigued collectors. Now, let's talk about the value of these quarters. In general, most 1979 quarters in average condition are worth their face value, 25 cents. But, as we all know in the world of numismatics, there's always more to the story. The real value in these quarters lies in their rarity and condition. Some of these 1979 quarters, especially those in mint state or with rare errors, can be worth a significant amount more than their face value. One of the most valuable variations of the 1979 quarter is the wide rim error coin. These coins were minted with a larger than normal rim, which caused them to stand out from the typical quarters of the time. This subtle yet important difference was not immediately noticed, so many of these coins were released into circulation before anyone realized their rarity. Over the years, collectors have become keenly aware of this unique error, and now a 1979 quarter with this wide rim feature can fetch quite a sum. In addition to the wide rim error, there are also 1979 quarters that have been found with other types of minting mistakes, like off-center strikes or double dies. These error coins are prized by collectors because they are unique, one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out from the rest of the regular production coins. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare varieties in your collection, it could be worth much more than you might expect, but even without errors, the 1979 quarter can hold significant value if it's in excellent condition. Coins that are in near mint or uncirculated condition, meaning they've barely been handled and show little to no signs of wear, are much more desirable to collectors. The better the condition of the coin, the higher its value. This is especially true for coins that have been kept in pristine condition since their release, as they are becoming increasingly rare. As with any valuable coin, it's crucial to have it properly graded by a professional coin grading service. Grading determines the quality of a coin, and higher-grade coins naturally command higher prices. A quarter from 1979 that is graded as MS-65 or better could be worth several $100s, depending on its specific features and errors. So, just how much can a 1979 quarter be worth? While most 1979 quarters will likely remain in the realm of pocket change, the rare error coins and those in excellent condition can command impressive prices. If you happen to have one of the elusive, wide-rim, 1979 quarters, or one with a minting error in top-notch condition, it could be worth as much as $60,000, that's right, $60,000 for a single 1979 quarter. If you're sitting on a rare 1979 quarter or even think you might have one tucked away in your collection, it might be time to take a closer look. With their unique features, minting errors, and historical significance, these coins are highly sought after by collectors and can bring in substantial returns at auction or private sale. So, before you toss those old quarters in your change jar or spend them on your next cup of coffee, take a moment to check if you have a 1979 quarter in your possession. It could turn out to be a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. And who knows, you could be one lucky collector away from finding your very own rare coin worth a small fortune. Top 3. We're going to explore a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, or maybe even in your pocket change, the United States quarter dollar from 1974. While many people see these coins as nothing more than pocket change, there's a specific group of 1974 quarters that are actually worth far more than just 25 cents. Trust us, you won't believe how much a single 1974 quarter can be worth, and we're about to dive into exactly what makes it so special. First, let's set the stage with some history. The 1974 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. By the time 1974 rolled around, the United States was experiencing a period of economic change. The 1970s were marked by inflation and an ongoing shift in the global economy. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued to produce billions of quarters to meet the demands of the nation's ever-growing population, but here's the thing, while most 1974 quarters were produced and circulated as normal, some rare varieties of these coins were minted with small yet significant errors that make them incredibly valuable today. That's right, what was once just a regular piece of currency has turned into a highly sought-after collectible for those in the know. So, what exactly makes the 1974 quarter stand out? While the design itself, featuring the profile of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, remains iconic, the true value lies in certain rare varieties of the coin. Most of the 1974 quarters that you come across in your change are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, certain variations, like the 1974 D double die obverse, have become highly desirable to collectors, and that's where the real money is. Let's talk about the double die obverse coin for a moment. This error occurs when the die used to mint the coin is misaligned or not properly aligned during the striking process. As a result, certain parts of the design, like the date or the letters, appear to be doubled. The 1974 D double die obverse is one of the most famous and valuable varieties of the 1974 quarter. It's a perfect example of how a small mistake in the minting process can result in a coin that's worth far more than its face value. If you manage to get your hands on one of these double die error coins, you could be sitting on a hidden treasure. Collectors actively search for these coins, as they are much rarer than typical 1974 quarters, and they fetch a significant premium on the market. In fact, a 1974 D double die obverse in mint condition could be worth thousands of dollars, depending on its grade and how well preserved it is. Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1974 quarter is its overall condition. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, free from wear and tear, are much more valuable to collectors. A coin in uncirculated condition, meaning it hasn't been used in circulation and shows minimal signs of handling, can be worth significantly more than a coin that has been through years of wear. As time goes on, finding these well-preserved coins becomes harder, which is why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. But it's not just the double die errors that make the 1974 quarter special. There are also other varieties that are worth keeping an eye out for, such as those with unique minting errors or unusual characteristics. For example, some 1974 quarters were struck with an incorrect planchet, meaning they were made with the wrong type of metal or alloy, making them a rare find for collectors. And as we all know in the world of coin collecting, the rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. So, how much could a 1974 quarter actually be worth? While the standard quarters from this year are generally worth just 25 cents, the rare error coins and well-preserved examples can be worth quite a bit more. A 1974 D double die obverse in excellent condition can be worth several $1,000s, but when you find a truly top-tier example, graded by professional coin graders, it can easily fetch a price that will leave you speechless. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you happen to own one of these ultra-rare, high-quality 1974 quarters, particularly a well-preserved 1974 D double die obverse coin, it could be worth as much as $69,000. That's right, $69,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once worth just 25 cents can be worth so much today, but that's the magic of coin collecting. You just never know when a rare coin might turn up, and when it does, the value can be truly astonishing. So, if you have any 1974 quarters lying around, it might be worth taking a closer look at them. You might just have a rare gem on your hands that could turn out to be worth far more than you ever imagined. Whether it's a double die error or just a beautifully preserved coin, it's always worth checking. Top 4. This video is about a coin that's sure to get your heart racing if you're into rare and valuable finds. We're talking about the United States $quarter from 1967, a coin that many people overlook, but one that could actually be worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much a single 1967 quarter could fetch in the right condition. You won't believe your eyes. Let's start with a bit of history. The 1967 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been around since 1932. The design features George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, both iconic symbols of American heritage. But the 1967 quarter stands out because of the unique historical context in which it was produced. 1967 was a year of transition for the United States. The country was in the midst of a changing economic landscape, with the Vietnam War still ongoing and tensions rising both domestically and internationally. The U.S. Mint, meanwhile, was focused on producing large quantities of coins to keep up with the country's growing demand for currency. But here's where things get interesting. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a big decision. They reduced the silver content in many of the nation's coins, including the quarter. Prior to this, quarters had been made of 90% silver. But by 1965, the Mint switched to a 75% copper and 25% nickel composition due to rising silver prices and the desire to prevent silver hoarding. However, 1967 was a year in which the transition to these new copper-nickel quarters was still in full swing. Now, you might be wondering, what does that have to do with the value of the 1967 quarter? Well, here's the thing. While most 1967 quarters were made from the copper-nickel alloy, some coins were accidentally struck with higher amounts of silver due to a mix-up at the mint. This mistake resulted in a small number of 1,967 quarters containing more silver than intended, and it's these rare silver quarters that have become highly coveted by collectors. The reason these silver 1967 quarters are so valuable is simple: they're extremely rare. With the vast majority of the 1967 quarters being made from copper-nickel, finding one that contains the silver composition is like striking gold. These silver quarters are often called silver strikes or error coins, and their rarity makes them worth a lot more than the standard 1967 quarter. But even if your 1967 quarter isn't a silver error, there's still good news for collectors. The 1967 quarter, like many coins, can increase in value depending on its condition. Coins that have been well preserved, particularly those in uncirculated or near mint condition, are much more valuable to collectors. If your 1967 quarter has little to no wear, it could be worth much more than just 25 cents. The better the condition, the more desirable it becomes. Now, you're probably wondering how you can tell if you have one of these rare silver 1967 quarters or a particularly valuable specimen. The easiest way is to check the weight. A standard 1967 quarter made of copper-nickel weighs about 5.67 grams, while the silver version weighs a little more, around 6.25 grams. If you have a coin scale, this is the quickest way to determine if your 1967 quarter contains silver. You can also try the sound test by lightly tapping the coin with a metal object. Silver has a distinct ring when struck compared to the copper-nickel coins. If you're lucky enough to have one of these silver 1967 quarters or even a coin in top condition with no signs of wear, you might be holding something truly special. But there's more. Some 1967 quarters were also minted with other rare features, such as minting errors like double dies or off-center strikes. These unique coins are often worth even more, as they are one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out in the world of numismatics. You might be asking yourself, how much could a 1967 quarter actually be worth? Well, here's where the excitement comes in. The value of a 1967 quarter can range from just a few dollars if it's in average condition to thousands of dollars if it's a rare silver version or features a minting error. But the real kicker is this: if you happen to own one of these rare silver 1967 quarters in near-perfect condition, or perhaps a coin with a unique error, it could be worth as much as $75,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $75,000 for a single 1967 quarter. That's how much these rare coins can be worth, depending on their rarity, condition, and features. So, if you have any 1967 quarters lying around in your collection or stashed away in a drawer, it might be time to take a closer look. You could have a valuable treasure on your hands that could change your life. Before we wrap up, here's a tip: always consider having your coins professionally graded if you suspect you might have a rare one. A coin's grade can significantly impact its value, and a certified coin in great condition can fetch top dollar from serious collectors. Top 5, we're focusing on a coin that might be lurking in your collection or sitting in your spare change, the United States quarter dollar from 1983. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from the 1980s, but trust me, this quarter has some surprises in store, and it might just be worth a lot more than you think. Stick around until the end of the video because we're going to reveal just how much a single 1983 quarter could be worth today. Let's take a step back in time. The 1983 quarter came at a pivotal moment in U.S. history. The early 1980s were a time of economic change, marked by inflation and shifting international relations. While most people were focused on everyday life, the U.S. Mint was busy producing billions of coins to keep up with the growing demand for currency. By the time the 1983 quarter was issued, the country had already gone through a major shift in coinage, especially with the switch in 1965 when the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content in its coins due to rising silver prices. By the 1980s, quarters were made from a combination of copper and nickel, with no silver content at all. However, what makes the 1983 quarter interesting isn't necessarily its design or its metal composition, it's the rare errors that make it such a gem for collectors. That's right, a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about spending could actually be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. So, what's the deal with these rare 1983 quarters? Well, let's dig into it. Most 1983 quarters were struck as expected, with the standard design featuring George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. The coin was minted in large quantities, so most of these quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents. But here's where things get exciting. Some 1983 quarters were produced with small minting errors that make them incredibly valuable. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties is the 1983 double die error. What exactly is a double die? Well, this error happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during the minting process. The result is a doubling of some of the design elements, most commonly seen in the digits of the date, the letters, and other parts of the coin's design. The 1983 double die quarter is particularly rare, and collectors are on the lookout for these errors because they add a whole new level of value to an otherwise standard coin. If you happen to have a 1983 quarter with a noticeable double die error, especially one with doubled lettering or numbers, you might have found yourself a real treasure. These error coins can sell for far more than their face value, and the value increases even more if the coin is in excellent condition. Coins that show signs of wear, like scratches or discoloration, will naturally be worth less than those in pristine, uncirculated condition. Another thing to keep in mind is that not all 1983 quarters are error coins. The majority of them were minted without any significant flaws and are worth only their face value. However, error coins, especially the rare ones, are highly prized by collectors because they're unique, and finding one can be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But there's more to this story. Besides the double die error, the 1983 quarter has also attracted attention because of other unique characteristics that can increase its value. For example, there are reports of 1983 quarters being struck on incorrect planchets, meaning they were made from the wrong type of metal or alloy. These wrong planchet errors are very rare and can significantly increase a coin's value. Coins that have been struck off-center, with misaligned designs, or with other minting mistakes are always on the radar of coin collectors and can fetch big bucks at auctions or private sales. So, how much could a 1983 quarter be worth? Well, the standard, run-of-the-mill 1983 quarters aren't going to get you more than 25 cents. But if you have one of those rare error coins, especially the double die variety, you could be sitting on a real jackpot. Depending on the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and how much demand there is for it, the value of a 1983 quarter can skyrocket. In fact, the most valuable 1983 quarter with a major error could be worth as much as $55,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $55,000 for a single 1983 quarter. That's the kind of value these rare error coins can command when they're in excellent condition. The combination of rarity, historical significance, and the unique minting errors make these quarters a true gem in the world of numismatics. If you have a 1983 quarter in your collection, it might be worth your time to take a closer look. Even if it doesn't have an obvious error, coins in top-notch condition can still command higher prices. If you do think you found a rare error coin, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded and authenticated by a reputable coin grading service. Grading helps determine the coin's quality and can significantly affect its value. Top 6, we have a coin that's sure to get your heart racing. We're diving into the world of the United States quarter dollar from 1970. It might seem like just another quarter you could find in your pocket change, but trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. If you think all quarters are worth only 25 cents, think again. A rare 1970 quarter, in certain conditions or with a special feature, could be worth an absolute fortune. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, we'll be revealing just how much a 1970 quarter could fetch in today's market. Spoiler alert, it's a lot more than you might think. Let's begin by taking a step back into history. The 1970 quarter came out during a period of economic and cultural change in the United States. It was the tail end of the 1960s, a decade filled with societal shifts and political upheaval. By 1970, the U.S. Mint was working hard to keep up with the demands of an ever-growing population, minting billions of coins to satisfy the country's need for currency. This quarter was part of the Washington Quarter series, which had been in circulation since 1932, featuring the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. While the design stayed the same, something important happened in 1970 that makes these quarters especially interesting. The U.S. Mint struck a special series of coins with rare minting errors, and these particular coins could be worth far more than their face value. You see, most 1970 quarters were struck as intended, and they're worth just 25 cents if you were to find them in your spare change. However, as with many coins from this era, certain rare varieties stand out. One of the key factors that make the 1970 quarter particularly valuable is the possibility of errors in the minting process, like off-center strikes or even more unique mistakes that are highly prized by collectors. But perhaps the most exciting error coin from 1970 is the 1970D, known for its unique characteristics. Some of these coins were struck with minting errors that make them stand out from the rest. The most coveted of these are the D mintmark varieties, especially those that have double dies or other anomalies in their design. The doubling effect on some of the lettering or numbers can be incredibly subtle, but to the trained eye, it's an unmistakable feature that sets these coins apart. double die errors occur when the coin die is struck multiple times, causing the design to appear doubled in specific areas. For collectors, these types of errors are highly desirable because they are rare and one of a kind. A 1970D double die quarter is a treasure for numismatists, and it can bring in some serious money at auction or through private sale. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. The value of a 1970 quarter can also depend heavily on its grade, which is essentially a measure of how well the coin has been preserved over time. Coins that are in excellent, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than coins that have been circulated and show significant signs of wear and tear. So, if you happen to have a 1970 quarter that's in pristine condition, it's worth checking closely for any errors or unique features that could make it even more valuable. Another factor that plays a role in the value of the 1970 quarter is the specific minting location. In 1970, the U.S. Mint had multiple locations where coins were struck, including the Denver Mint, which produced coins with a distinctive D mint mark. These D mint mark quarters are particularly sought after by collectors, especially those that have unique features like the aforementioned double die errors. Some 1970 quarters were struck on the wrong type of planchet or experienced other unusual minting issues, making them even more valuable. But how much could a 1970 quarter actually be worth? As mentioned earlier, the vast majority of 1970 quarters are worth just their face value, but the rare errors and unique characteristics can push their worth into the thousands of dollars range. If you find one of these rare error coins, especially one in top condition with a double die or other unique features, you might be looking at a coin worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. Now, for the big reveal, a rare 1970 quarter in excellent condition, with an error or a unique feature like a double die, can be worth as much as $76,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $76,000 for a single 1970 quarter. When you consider how rare these coins are, it's no wonder collectors are willing to pay top dollar for one. If you're lucky enough to have a 1970 quarter in your collection, or if you find one in your change, this could be your golden ticket to a small fortune. So, if you're out there hunting for rare coins or going through your collection, be sure to take a closer look at your 1970 quarters. With the right error, the right condition, and the right collector interested, you could be sitting on a coin that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 7. We're going to talk about the 1980 United States quarter dollar, a coin that you may have overlooked, but could actually be hiding some incredible value. If you've ever wondered how much an ordinary quarter could be worth, you'll want to stick around for this one. Trust me, you'll be amazed by what a 1980 quarter could fetch if it's the right kind. Let's rewind to the year 1980. The U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for a country that was in the midst of economic changes. The 1980s were a time of transition, with new political shifts, technological advances, and a rapidly evolving culture. For most people, the quarter dollar was simply a coin to pay for a coffee, a bus ride, or a small purchase at the store. But little did they know, some of these quarters would go on to become highly valuable treasures in the world of numismatics. The design of the 1980 quarter was the same as the one introduced back in 1932, the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. While this design has remained largely unchanged for decades, there's something about the 1980 quarter that makes it interesting from a collector's standpoint. You see, the 1980 quarter, like many coins from the 20th century, was minted in huge quantities. Most of them were produced in standard copper-nickel alloy and circulated widely, meaning the majority of these quarters are worth only 25 cents today. However, here's where it gets exciting. Just because a coin is common doesn't mean it can't become valuable. The truth is, some 1980 quarters were struck with rare errors, and it's these mistakes that make them so highly coveted by collectors. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process. These errors can vary from minor imperfections to more dramatic mistakes that create one-of-a-kind coins. And as any seasoned coin collector knows, the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin. One of the most sought-after errors for the 1980 quarter is the double die variety. What exactly is a double die? Well, This occurs when the coin die used to strike the coin doesn't align properly during the minting process. The result is a doubling of the design elements, most often seen in the date, letters, and numbers on the coin. For the 1980 quarter, this could mean doubled numbers in the year 1980 or other noticeable doubling of the lettering. These double die errors are extremely rare and are one of the most exciting types of errors for collectors. A 1980 quarter with this kind of error could easily fetch a much higher price than a regular quarter. Aside from double die errors, there are other types of minting errors that can increase the value of a 1980 quarter. For example, off-center strikes or misaligned dies can create unique patterns or designs that stand out from the standard coin. These errors are also highly collectible because they are one-of-a-kind pieces that were never meant to be produced. These kinds of mistakes make the coin not only valuable but also historically significant, as they represent the imperfections in the minting process. Another factor that plays a big role in determining the value of a 1980 quarter is its condition. As with all collectible coins, the better the condition, the higher the price. Coins that are in excellent, uncirculated condition with little to no wear can command a much higher price than those that have been circulated and show signs of use. If you find a 1980 quarter that looks like it just came off the press, you're already looking at a more valuable coin, even if it doesn't have any errors. But let's get to the real question: how much could a 1980 quarter actually be worth? Well, for a standard quarter, the value is obviously just 25 cents. But if you have a rare error coin, especially a double die error or one with a unique minting mistake, you could be looking at a coin worth far more. And I mean far more. Some of these rare error coins, in excellent condition, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction.so. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. A 1980 quarter with a significant minting error, particularly one in top condition or with a rare feature like the double die, could be worth as much as $59,000. Yes, you heard that right, $59,000 for a single 1980 quarter. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin that's nearly 45 years old could hold so much value, but that's the power of rare errors and perfect condition. If you have a 1980 quarter in your collection or happen to come across one in your change, it could be worth a small fortune. If you think you have a rare 1980 quarter or any coin with potential value, it's a great idea to have it professionally graded. A coin's grade significantly impacts its value, and having a reputable grading service certify your coin can help ensure you get the best price if you decide to sell or trade it. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you to always keep an eye out for unusual minting characteristics and to carefully inspect your coins, especially if they seem to have been made differently than the others in your collection. You never know, you could be holding a valuable piece of US history that's worth far more than its face value. Top 8. We're diving into a fascinating topic: the United States quarter dollar from 1971. At first glance, this might seem like just another coin from the past, but believe me, it has some hidden potential. What if I told you that a 1971 quarter could be worth far more than its face value of 25 cents? You might be thinking, how could that be? Well, stick with me for a moment, because this quarter has some secrets that could make it worth tens of thousands of dollars. By the end of the video, you'll be astonished at what a rare 1971 quarter can really fetch on the market. The 1971 quarter was minted during a very interesting time in US history. The 1970s were marked by economic uncertainty, shifting political landscapes, and cultural change. The US Mint, meanwhile, was busy producing coins to keep up with the country's needs, and the 1971 quarter was no different from many others in the Washington Quarter series. It featured the iconic portrait of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the reverse. While this design had been in place since 1932, it was still widely circulated throughout the 1970s and beyond. But while the majority of these 1971 quarters were produced for general circulation, there's something special about this coin that makes it stand out in the world of collectors. It all comes down to a few rare errors and unique features that could turn an ordinary 1971 quarter into a highly valuable piece of numismatic history. The US Mint produces millions of coins every year, and as you can imagine, mistakes do happen. Minting errors are actually quite common, but there are certain types of errors that make coins far more valuable than others. The 1971 quarter, in particular, is known for a few key minting errors that can dramatically increase its worth. If you find one of these rare mistakes, you could be holding onto a treasure without even realizing it. One of the most sought-after errors in 1971 quarters is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin doesn't align properly, resulting in a doubling effect on some of the design elements. This is usually most noticeable in the year 1971, where the numbers can appear to be slightly shifted, creating a doubled effect. The more pronounced the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors absolutely love double die errors because they are unique and rare, making them highly sought after in the market. But the double die isn't the only error to look out for. There are also some 1971 quarters that were struck off-center or with misaligned dies. These errors are also highly prized because they give the coin an unusual and distinctive appearance. A misaligned die error can cause parts of the coin to appear off-center, with some portions of the design being cut off or moved to the side. These coins are considered mistakes in the minting process, but to collectors, they are pieces of history that stand out from the crowd. Of course, it's not just about the errors. The condition of the coin plays a significant role in determining its value. A 1971 quarter that has been carefully preserved and remains in excellent condition can command a much higher price than one that has been worn down through years of circulation. Coins that have no visible damage, wear, or discoloration are considered to be in uncirculated condition and can be worth far more than their face value. But here's the big question: how much could a 1971 quarter actually be worth? Well, as with most coins, the value depends on the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and the demand from collectors. The majority of 1971 quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, but if you're lucky enough to have one with a significant error, especially in pristine condition, you could be looking at a much higher value. In fact, the most valuable 1971 quarters with rare errors can be worth as much as $69,000, yes, you heard that right, $69,000 for a single 1971 quarter. It's truly mind-blowing to think that a coin from over 50 years ago could be worth such an incredible amount, but the rarity of the errors, combined with the condition of the coin, makes it a collector's dream. If you have a 1971 quarter in your collection, it's worth taking the time to inspect it closely. Look for any signs of a double die error or other unique features that might set it apart. If you think you found something special, you should consider getting the coin professionally graded by a reputable grading service. A coin's grade plays a huge role in determining its value, and a professional certification can help you unlock its true worth. So, if you've got a 1971 quarter lying around, don't just toss it aside without giving it a second glance. You might be holding a rare error coin that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And who knows, if you find that perfect 1971 quarter with the right error and in excellent condition, you might just walk away with an incredible payout. Top 9, we're diving into a coin that many of you might have come across without giving it a second thought, but let me tell you, the 1987 United States quarter dollar has some surprising secrets that could make it worth far more than you imagined. This seemingly ordinary coin could actually be worth thousands, and I'm here to share all the juicy details. So, if you're a collector or simply curious about the potential hidden in your pocket change, this is a video you don't want to miss. Let's rewind a little to 1987. The world was experiencing a blend of change and stability. It was the tail end of the 1980s, a decade of significant economic growth in the United States. The U.S. Mint was hard at work producing coins, including the beloved Washington quarter, which had been in circulation for decades. The 1987 quarter was part of the ongoing Washington quarter series, and just like the others, it featured George Washington's portrait on the front, with an eagle on the back. Nothing seemed too extraordinary about it, but here's the catch: while most of these coins were produced in massive numbers and circulated widely, a few key factors have made the 1987 quarter stand out in the world of collectors. And no, it's not just the fact that it's 30+ years old. There's more going on here. Some 1987 quarters have unique characteristics and rare errors that make them much more valuable than their face value of 25 cents. These errors and features are what collectors are constantly searching for, and if you find one, it could mean a hefty payout. Minting errors are not unusual in the world of coin production, but some of the mistakes that happened in 1987 have become quite sought after. One of the most exciting errors that collectors look for is the double die variety. A double die error occurs when a coin die doesn't strike properly, causing part of the design, usually the year or the lettering, to appear doubled or offset. For the 1987 quarter, a double die error on the year 1987 would result in a doubled effect that's noticeable to the trained eye. This subtle but significant error makes the coin much more desirable, and collectors who specialize in these types of errors are willing to pay a premium for a coin with such a unique feature. Additionally, some 1987 quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design on the coin is misaligned, creating a distorted image. Off-center errors can occur when the coin is not positioned correctly in the press during minting, leading to a portion of the coin being left blank or having the design pushed out of alignment. These off-center strikes are highly prized by collectors because they're rare, and they make for a coin that's visually different from your typical, perfect minting. They're the types of mistakes that make a coin stand out, and that's what collectors love. Another factor that can add to the value of the 1987 quarter is its condition. We've talked before about the importance of a coin's grade when it comes to determining its value, and this coin is no exception. If you happen to have a 1987 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, you've got a coin that could be worth significantly more than just 25 cents. Coins in this condition are much rarer than those that have been used in circulation for years, and their value can increase dramatically as a result. So, what could this 1987 quarter with an error or in perfect condition be worth? As I mentioned earlier, these coins are more than just pocket change. A well-preserved 1987 quarter with an error, whether it's the double die or an off-center strike, could be worth far more than its face value. In fact, a rare 1987 quarter could be worth as much as $54,000, that's right, $54,000 for a single 1987 quarter. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But that's the power of rare minting errors and top-condition coins. While you won't find this kind of value in just any 1987 quarter, it's amazing to think that a mistake or a well-preserved coin can bring in such a large sum. Now, before you start scouring your pocket change, remember that not every 1987 quarter will fetch such a high price. The condition and rarity of the error are what make these coins so valuable. So, if you have a 1987 quarter, take a good look at it. Check for any signs of doubling, misalignment, or other unique features that could set it apart. And, of course, don't forget to inspect its condition. If you're lucky enough to have a coin that fits the bill, you could have something truly special in your hands. It's always a good idea to have your coins professionally graded, especially if you suspect you found something rare. A certified grade can help you determine the true value of your coin and give you the confidence to sell or trade it in the market. So, the next time you find a 1987 quarter in your change, take a moment to inspect it closely. You just might be holding onto a rare coin worth far more than you expected. And remember, in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference. Top 10 and last rare coins, we have something truly exciting to discuss. Have you ever wondered about the hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket change? Well, if you've ever found a 1986 United States quarter dollar, you might want to take a closer look. This seemingly ordinary coin has more value than most people realize, and some of these quarters are worth far more than just 25 cents. If you're a coin collector or even just someone who loves a good treasure hunt, stick around, because you won't believe what a 1986 quarter could be worth. By the end of this video, you might just look at your loose change in a whole new light. The year 1986 was a turning point in American history. It was a time when the country was seeing significant changes both politically and socially. The U.S. Mint, meanwhile, was hard at work producing coins, and the 1986 Washington quarter was no exception. Like other quarters in the Washington series, the 1986 quarter features the timeless portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. While this design had been used since 1932, the quarter has continued to be one of the most widely circulated and recognizable coins in the United States. However, despite its widespread circulation, the 1986 quarter holds some special qualities that could make it much more valuable than it first appears. While most of these quarters are worth their standard 25 cents, a small number were struck with rare minting errors, making them extremely valuable to collectors. These errors, which range from slight imperfections to more dramatic mistakes, can make a seemingly average coin worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. And as a coin collector, those are the kinds of discoveries that can change everything. One of the most significant errors that can be found on the 1986 quarter is a double die variety. Double die errors are some of the most exciting mistakes that can happen during the minting process. Essentially, a double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin misaligns during production, resulting in a doubling effect on the design. This could appear in the year 1986, where the numbers may appear to be slightly doubled, giving the coin a unique look. Collectors go wild for these types of errors, because they're relatively rare and add a layer of historical interest to the coin. A double die 1986 quarter, especially one in great condition, can be worth far more than a standard quarter, but the double die error isn't the only thing to look for when it comes to the 1986 quarter. Other rare minting errors that can increase the coin's value include off-center strikes and misaligned dies. An off-center strike occurs when the coin isn't aligned properly in the minting press, causing parts of the design to be cut off or shifted to the side. These off-center quarters have a distinctive look that sets them apart from the usual, perfectly struck coins. The more extreme the off-center error, the more valuable the coin can be. Misaligned dies work in a similar way, causing the design elements of the coin to appear slightly out of place, giving it a unique and sought-after look. It's also important to note that the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. As with any collectible, coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that show signs of wear and tear. If you happen to have a 1986 quarter that looks like it just came off the minting press, no scratches, discoloration, or wear, then you may have a coin worth much more than its face value. Uncirculated quarters from 1986 are becoming harder to find, so if you come across one, it's definitely worth taking the time to get it professionally graded. Now, the question that's probably on your mind is, just how much can a 1986 quarter actually be worth? Well, if you have one of these rare error coins, you might be sitting on something that could be worth far more than you thought. In fact, a 1986 quarter with a significant error, especially in pristine condition, can be worth as much as $57,000, yes, you heard that right, $57,000 for a single 1986 quarter. While it might seem unbelievable, that's the kind of value that a rare minting error or a perfectly preserved coin can fetch on the market. It's truly astonishing to think that a coin from nearly 40 years ago could be worth such a large sum, but that's the beauty of the coin collecting world. Sometimes, a small mistake or a well-preserved coin can make all the difference in the value. If you happen to have a 1986 quarter in your collection, I highly recommend taking a good look at it. Inspect the coin carefully for any signs of doubling, misalignment, or other minting errors that might make it stand out. If you find anything unusual or suspect you have a rare piece, don't hesitate to have it professionally graded. A certified grade will give you an accurate value for your coin, and it's the best way to ensure you're getting the true worth of your rare find. So, the next time you're digging through your change jar or sifting through some loose quarters, take a moment to check the date. If you come across a 1986 quarter, it could be the start of a very exciting journey. With a little luck and some keen eyes, you might just discover that you have a rare gem on your hands. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the hidden value of the 1986 quarter, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on future coin discoveries. You never know when you might stumble upon your next big find. Happy hunting, and good luck with your coin collecting adventures.